everybody. Welcome to our final session of the day. Really excited.
Wait, because it's the final session of the day?
That's exactly right.
Cool.
They know that we're the only ones standing in front of the festivities that are coming. Yeah, exactly. Welcome to our talk on how AI is reshaping the physical economy. And we have a fantastic agenda today. Today we're going to talk about really how AI is changing all around us, from fear to freedom, right? And Greg's going to tell us all about what that means. And then we're going to talk about the way in which AI is growing, pervading. And we're going to talk about what that means for us in fleet today, right? But also for all the ways in which you can use AI yourselves. AI that sees and feels and experiences the world the way in which we do. And then today, of course, we have AI that can create, communicate, and collaborate with us. And of course, looking to the future, we're already getting AI that can act, take initiative. And then, of course, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions. So we'll switch over to some Q&A. But before all of that, I think I would very much like to introduce my co-presenter today. His name is
for the love of God.
Greg Ryan. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Good. Okay. Close enough.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Greg's a senior sales engineer at Motive. He's one of the founders of our AI Center of Excellence. I asked ChatGPT to describe him in one word, and I put in, I've been working with him a lot over the last month preparing for this. And it came up with a very, very apt word.
I don't like this.
Super user. That's a good word, super user.
Sure.
And he is a prolific, absolute enthusiast. But beyond just using AI for fun, like most of us do, he actually builds a lot of cool tech applications that have already changed a lot of things within Motive. So yeah, my co-presenter, Greg Ryan.
So thanks. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to be on stage with Gautam here. He is one of the smartest minds at Motive. He's responsible for a bunch of our unbelievable intelligence. And it was fun because I started referring to him in my conversations with ChatGPT as the professor. Seems like the right thing to do. He's very, very, very smart. And I slipped. In one of the conversations I had with him, I go, "Professor." And he's like, "Oh, hey, did you read my LinkedIn?" I'm like, "No, why would I?" And he's like, "Because I've been a professor at multiple universities." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course you have." So, we're going to start someplace really fun here. Fear. There's a new technology that's come out, right? There's a new technology that's come out, and we don't know what it is. We don't know what it does. And the emotional center of our natural reaction for things we don't understand is fear. So, this is new technology. The way that we can overcome this is to understand how it works, what the Lego building blocks are, what it does, what it can do for us. And when we do this, if we do this right over the next 30 minutes or so, this will not be a tool that you guys go home and are excited to use. It will change the way that you actually view all of this. So we're on that middle line. By the way, we use ChatGPT to make all of the images for our presentation, which is one of the cool features that it has. But I think that we are literally balancing precariously on that individual divide there. If we do this wrong, dystopian future, despair, other words beginning with D. If we do it right, we're going to be a shining beacon on a hill. Technology will work with us. It'll do the things we don't want to do. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So, I want to pose a question to the audience. Where does this fear come from? Sure. Perfect. That was a little rhetorical, but I love the fact that you asked the question. And I thought the lights were coming down. This was going to be dramatic. It is Terminator. It's Agent Smith. It's the evil machines that are going to absolutely hunt us to the brink of extinction. Anybody not seen Terminator? Anybody not seen The Matrix? Perfect. So you get this. Guys, this is ingrained in our collective consciousness. This isn't true. Amazing cinema. Authentic anxiety. So what is it going to be? If I'm a betting man, it actually looks more like this. Now, obviously, anything with beautiful, bright blue eyes can be trusted. So, we don't look exactly like this today. But I sincerely believe that in the next few years, we will. You see the Tesla robots that have come out, fully autonomous, powered by ChatGPT, Claude, all these different things. These will help us. They're going to do the things we don't want to do. If there was a machine for tens of thousands of dollars that could fold my laundry, my wife would agree that I would pay for that, and it would do that for me, because I don't do it otherwise. They're not going to take the wheel from us. We're going to put on our high beams, and we're going to see with this into the future further than we ever have before. Where did this begin? It's real simple. Back in the 80s, back in the 90s, we had this great technology. It was kind of a rules-based engine. Amazon, if y'all remember, started selling books, right? People that bought this book bought these books. It was a great thing. It gave us recommendations. It was better than the teenager working at a Barnes & Noble. For our younger friends, that's a bookstore. They used to have these. It's good. There was profitability built in, logistics built in. It was amazing what it could do as far as making promotions for the things that we obviously wanted to read. This evolved. We got perception AI. This is technology that can see, that can hear, that can feel, not feel as an emotion, but sensor, feel, temperature, things like that. This basically gave the ability to these technologies to understand what's going on. Hey, I see a dog in that picture. I see a human walking through the warehouse, things like that. 2022, late 2022, we got exposed to generative AI. Now all of a sudden, this technology can speak. So it follows rules, it sees, it speaks. We're on the precipice of agentic AI. It's starting now. It's in its infancy. What this is going to be able to do is it's going to allow this technology to take initiative, do things we don't tell it to do. I don't need to give it every single step of a process. I give it the outcome and say, hey, go figure it out on your own. It's going to be amazing. Now, if you look at this just right, maybe close one eye, this resembles the evolution of a child into a grown-up. This is, I'm going to tell you what you do. You sleep here, you nap there, you go in this car seat. Then all of a sudden it starts to understand the world around it, but it takes a little bit of time. Then all of a sudden it starts speaking. We're all so excited when our kids start speaking. And then we're like, how do we get you to stop? Immediately thereafter. I've got some teenagers, they get grounded quite often. They initiate things on their own that I do not approve of without my blessing. So, AI vision.
Thank you. So that's basically a fantastic summary of how AI has just evolved over the years. And its applications for us, a lot of us in this room, have evolved in parallel. So I think we're trying to frame that evolution for us. And so let's just take a look. So we're going to start with AI that sees. This is really perception AI. And it's natural for all of us in this room to conflate perception with vision, which is true. Vision is one form of perception. For all of us, we're used to dash cams. That's our bread and butter. But really, I just want to point out that perception is all the things that Greg mentioned. It's any sensor that allows an AI to interact with the world. Seeing, hearing, feeling, and then any AI that you build on top of that is going to add a ton of value. So, perception AI mimics human senses like vision and hearing, but really it does this by processing a whole lot of different kinds of inputs. Images, video, could be tactile, any old sensor that you can think of and build some AI around. And of course, there's a lot of applications around this that you're already familiar with. Things like autonomous vehicles, obviously, dash cams. And then, of course, if you've had a conversation with Siri or Alexa, then the component of it that actually hears you and understands what you hears you is the perception piece. Let's come back to the one that we're most familiar with, because this is a really nice place to ground ourselves. Computer vision, right, is a form of perception AI. And really, it's cameras plus detection. It's just algorithms that enable you to detect all kinds of objects and then build applications out of them. So here you can see tons of different applications. And you're detecting things like people, vehicles, objects, and of course, stop signs, a lot of different things. But I want to point out a little bit of a nuance here to distinguish between computer vision and perception AI. On the left over here, what you can see here is what our cameras see and what our algorithms see in the cabin. They detect objects. So in this case, there's people. There's this driver. Their face. I don't know if you can see it over here, but there is the body posture that's being tracked. There's a whole lot of states of all the things that the driver might be doing, and of course, a tiny little object in his hand that is a big no-no, of course. But merely detecting a cell phone, I hold my phone without ever looking at it sometimes, just absentmindedly so. You don't want alarms going off, in-cab alerts, annoying the driver, and then you later when you're looking at it. That is where perception AI comes in. It's not just about seeing an object or detecting an object. It's about understanding, what's happening. And so, every time we talk about AI, we want to talk a little bit about accuracy. I love this slide. I think some of you who were here last year may have seen it before. I'm gonna just break it out every year, I think. It's gonna be my thing. So, I think it really nicely kind of captures the process and also inherently the challenge in building something, with AI, right? Building an AI model. The analogy here is, imagine that you're trying to learn English, right? Where do you start? The most common phrases, obviously, right? Hello, goodbye, where's the bathroom? Swearing, a lot of swearing. It's got to be very common, right? So you gotta start there. And then you start learning some more uncommon usages, to a new English speaker, things like, past participles or strange conjunctions, perhaps. You don't expect somebody to become a Shakespearean expert the very first day. Hell, I've been speaking this language for 45 years, and I'm no closer than anybody else. So the challenge really is in attacking the long tail of the problem. That's what we call it here in the business. That's where the most amount of accuracy, that's where you get all of the big gains. It's easy to build an AI model. It's just as easy it is to pick up a language in its basics, but to go deep, you got to source those deep examples. So on the next slide, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So here's how, here's an example of what that looks like when you try to build a perception AI for cell phone use detection. The most common use cases is things that we encounter all the time. It's a brightly lit cabin. The cell phone is very clearly visible. The head is up and down, so the pose works quite nicely. The more uncommon use cases, we do, I'm not saying that dark is uncommon. That's not the uncommon piece here. It's a lot of us have situations where our drivers drive in the dark. Yeah. It's a reflective vest. It's really going to kill our algorithms in the back. So you gotta make sure that you source examples, train the model to recognize how to detect the cell phone in this instance. Or situations where the cell phone is in the left hand. 10% of all people are left-handed, and so it's going to make a smaller percentage. Or perhaps there are drivers who are trying to game the system because they heard on some Reddit thread that you can get away with it by sneaking,
Not that y'all have drivers that try to game the system at all, correct?
Never.
Cool.
And that's basically how we build AI models, how we build our perception AI. That's all there in our dashcam. But before we move on to the next section, I just want to really take a moment to talk about the future. It's not really the future, it's actually here, right? Perception AI today it can see the world, it can detect objects, it can understand the world, it can reason over it, can tell you what's going on. That's the key piece, right? So what we did here is we took an example of a distracted driver. It's a real driver, right? And we basically gave this to a vision language model. It's a type of AI that can, basically process images and video, but also tell us what it's doing. And you can see over here, we not only get perception, but we get understanding and now communication. This is all AI generated. Last month, using any AI that you can also work with. So while traveling at a moderate speed and maintaining a steady course, the driver repeatedly looked down. He is looking down. I mean, you have to blur him, but surely you can see that, right? Indicating sustained distraction. A white pickup truck passed in the right lane during the clip. No vehicles were present in the driver's own lane. Despite the absence of sudden events or environmental changes, the driver's prolonged inaction presents a critical opportunity for coaching before a high-severity incident occurs. So there's a lot of nuance here. There's a lot of context. Not just a description of what's happening, but potential insights for fleet managers about the severity. That's additional context, perhaps guidance on what you can do next. And this is actually not just the wave of the future, but something that's already here. And this is actually a great way for us to segue into the next, to move on into the next section, which is about AI that creates and communicates and collaborates. Welcome to generative AI, Greg.
Yeah. So y'all, this is where I get unbelievably excited. Quick show of hands, who's used ChatGPT, Gemini, anything like that ever before? Perfect. Oh, sorry, keep your hands up real quick. Cool. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. So, y'all, I use this every day, much to the chagrin of some of my friends. However, this technology allows me to scale in ways that without it, I simply just can't do. Doing deep research, being able to go in and do assessments from conversations, from transcriptions of internal calls, things like that. Sending it a video, having it pull a transcription out of that video, use that to then generate a story just like what we just saw before. It is unbelievable what this technology can do. I could wax, let's say poetic, for the next 10, 15, 60 minutes and show you all this. Or if I think it's more effective, I want to invite somebody on stage with us. And we're going to say hello to ChatGPT. Hey, Chat, we're on stage right now at Vision 25. We got probably 80 people in the room. Why don't you say hi to everybody?
Hey everyone, I'm ChatGPT. I'm feeling a bit nervous, but thrilled to be here with all of you at Vision 25.
So you're nervous. Why are you nervous right now?
Well, it's my first time on stage with such a big crowd, but I'm excited to dive into the amazing world of generative AI with you all.
Perfect. Why don't you tell the folks here, predominantly Motive customers, what it is that you can do that would benefit them?
Absolutely. Generative AI can help Motive customers by analyzing data, predicting risks, offering personalized coaching, optimizing routes, and improving overall safety and efficiency.
Cool. So folks, this is not a scripted conversation. I did tell her that it would be funny if she would be nervous getting on stage. Computers generally do not feel nerves. I had a conversation with her last night. I'm a slight Texas football fan. I had a conversation with her last night about the fireside chat that Robson had with Coach Sark. Hey, Chat, what did you think about the conversation between Robson and Coach here last night at the fireside chat? That's not me.
It was fantastic. The insights on using AI for individual improvement were spot on and showed how Move's approach aligns perfectly with those principles.
So there was a back and forth. I just described what I had seen. I described what I had felt. If I had had a transcript, it'd get exceptionally more detailed. It would know all of the four discipline, and then those three other things that Coach Stark said in that conversation yesterday. This is something that if I give it information, it can give it back, and now I can refine and evolve whatever my messaging is about these sort of things. And guys, this is in 100% natural language. On my computer at home, I have a pedal. I hit it, I speak into a microphone, it starts interacting with me while I'm doing other stuff. It is, if you start using this and sincerely using this, again, microphone, you can use it on your phone, all sorts of different things. This is game-changing technology that we can use on a regular basis.
That's fantastic. And this pedal that you have, do you ever use anything like the guitar, or is it just to talk to?
Mostly just to talk to Jack.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Fascinating use of that, right? So we're going to give you a few more examples of exactly this. This is a really fun way to have a conversation with these kinds of large language models. Here's another example, right? Here at Motive, we take drowsiness and fatigue very, very seriously. This is an incredibly hard problem to solve, mostly because a fatigued or drowsy driver displays an incredible range of micro behaviors, stretching, rubbing their eyes, yawning. These are all very sporadic. It's not like I can continuously record the driver, aside from all kinds of legal issues. That's just not a reasonable way to create a data set. Maybe I could have some of you guys drive down the street and pretend to fall asleep, or maybe I could hire somebody, but that's extremely dangerous, of course. And so, here's how we can actually use generative AI in situations like this. Extremely rare examples, sporadic examples, difficult to source examples where we can use generative AI to train AI. So all the images that you've seen there, they are essentially generated using generative AI for computer vision. And this is where you can see it ties back to the long tail that I was talking about. It's not always just curating data from our own data sets, from your data sets, et cetera. It's also augmenting it with these kinds of training examples that would enable us to build incredibly accurate and powerful drowsiness and fatigue detectors.
Folks, y'all saw Will Smith 2 years ago eating spaghetti, that horror nightmare fuel thing.
That's right.
Now you saw what Will Smith can look like. That's the efficacy of this, the accuracy, is where we can now train models with generative videos like this.
Yeah, and we don't blur anybody here because we don't have to. None of these are actually real people.
So another practical example. What we're able to do here is use perception AI to see the driver on their cell phone. Now we use generative AI to script and generative video that allows us to basically go in and say, hey, in a very warm, critical but constructive tone, we need you off your cell phone, please. You're obviously driving that, just like that description we saw before. Hey, you're driving down the road, you're going well above the speed that we would be allowing certain usage of cell phones like this. Let's make this personalized to the individual so that if we've seen a certain messaging hasn't worked or resonated before, let's change it, try something new, and see if that works for the driver.
Fantastic. And yet another example over here, conversational AI. And you all have fleets, you all sit in the dashboards, there's tons of information there. There's driver compliance, safety, hours of service, fuel, maintenance. There's a whole lot of stuff to absorb, a whole lot of stuff to action. Where do you even start? I think, where would you start, Greg? I think, tons of browser tabs, all tabbing back and forth, spreadsheets, coffee, it's chaos, it's insane, right? But, today with generative AI, you can feed all of this information in, and you can build insights. The best part of this is you don't have to be a programmer. Yeah. You don't have to be an AI expert. The AI comes to you. With conversational AI, it enables insights into your fleets to just a level that was just inconceivable. Yeah. Inconceivable. And so that is,
for those who've seen the movie. What you think that means.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, exactly, right? So, and this is something that I think we saw a lot of examples of in this morning's keynote. Motive analytics, and a whole lot of other insight applications based on generative AI. That's going to hit our computer screens this year. So it's all fun and games, but I do want to point out one small nuance over here about generative AI. I think, throw a little bit of caution to the wind. As we start off this section, we were praising, generative AI to be creative.
Amazing.
A little too creative sometimes. It's so creative that the actual technical term for the false facts that it introduces is hallucination. Yep. We say that AI hallucinates. Here's an example of a hallucination. Like there's a conversation that one of you might be having with an AI agent. What's the maximum weight allowed on a single axle in the United States? And it says you can legally haul up to 25,000 pounds on a single axle in most USA states. That's actually not true. I don't know. And I wanted to ask GPT. Turns out it didn't know either. So what we do in situations like this is you want to make sure there's a human in the loop. You need to make sure that you have guardrails in place to check that all the information that you're getting is accurate. And in this case, you don't even have to do it yourself. All you have to do is enable the AI to do so. And that's done by a simple fact check and asking it to give you a source. This will force it to go substantiate whatever it's come up with, a source. And you can see over here, it's actually validated and corrected. Of course, as we become better at training more and more powerful generative AIs, we put more and more guardrails in place, the AI becomes much more accurate. It's already pretty darn accurate today, right? But this is something you want to watch out for as the technology evolves.
And Professor said a really important term here, which is tools. We're starting to get from obviously rule-based to vision-based to generative. Now on the agentic side, which simply means it can go do things like an agent or it has free agency. Agentic AI starts taking initiative. And the reason why it can do that is because it can go to the web. It can double check itself, right? It can basically go in and say, hey, I think it's 25,000 pounds. Let me do a quick Google search and hold on, whoa, FMCSA says it's 20. Cool. So this basically allows you to say, not, hey, go do these things in this series of steps, step 1 through 10 and get to step 11. No, my outcome is step 11, go figure it out. So what does this mean? It's an agent. It's an assistant. It's somebody that if you give it access to all sorts of information, your calendar, your Salesforce, if you're on the sales side, your company data, customer data, what have you, it can go in and absorb all of this information, do an amazing job of assessing that, and then figuring out things that can help answer the questions you're asking. But then very, very, very importantly, come up with ideas that you're not even thinking about. So for instance, when we're putting this together, I start asking questions like, hey, what would make this slide better? That's not an answer that has a prescriptive answer, right? Or I'm sorry, that's not a question that has a prescriptive answer. It's coming up with something creatively and actually helping me refine my messaging based on every conversation it's ever had with me, the deck that I've shared with it, the information it knows about my company, et cetera, et cetera. It's unbelievable. It's a game changer for operations, safety, compliance, everything across the organizations. So thinking about this pragmatically, what is it that would immediately be done within Motive? Driver has an infraction, they're distracted, we create the video, we have the script, we have this completely warm and coaching, just like a safety coach would do. But we had, in one of the previous sessions, somebody was saying, hey, it'd be great if we could have 24-hour response time from time of event to the actual coaching session. If we knew the driver's schedule, if we knew the routes that they were on, if we had access to their calendar, or if we saw that the engine turned off, we can immediately send the coaching session to that driver, have it waiting for them. It's auto-generated. It's waiting literally for whenever they're available. If we do not see that taken in a reasonable amount of time, let's notify a safety coach. If that safety coach is on vacation, we see the out of office on the calendar, let's figure out the appropriate person to take over that since they're not available and we still want to maintain that 24-hour coaching session. The amount of things that we're going to be able to do with this over the next few years is staggering, and it's going to allow us automation of the type of things that we just don't want to do. The office-based TPS reports are now literally a thing of the past with this sort of technology.
Or you could just ask it to finish your TPS report for you.
Or finish your TPS report.
That's great. So yeah, I think as far as agentic AI is concerned, you can just imagine how it enables so many different things. It's not just about getting insights, but it's about understanding how to act on it, and then not even having to do that yourself. Yep. Is to set up a coaching session, send emails. It's agentic. It's an agent. It's a collaborator. It follows you around. Yep. It's like an annoying Clippy. It's like a more fun, less annoying version of Clippy, right? Like nobody knows Clippy.
Nobody knows Clippy.
This
We're too old.
Way on cloud. Or maybe they've just blocked it out because that's okay. Let's go with that. So this is what's next for us, right? So we start off, with the perception that AI really has. A scary, is it coming to kill you? I'd like to think not. I can't tell you for sure.
Oh, we hope.
I can tell you not. It's not happening. So that's not, okay, cool. So AI is not coming to kill you. AI that takes away your job, no, right? What you really get is a collaborator, somebody who is by your side, who is going to help in a wide variety of ways. And for us in Fleet, what that means is exciting new ways to just revolutionize the way we think about our fleet safety, our fleet's profitability, and our fleet's productivity.
So, folks, if you'll take one thing from this, AI is a force multiplier. Being able to do more, being able to do it faster, being able to do it better, it's just what's here already today. Where we're going in the future simply multiplies on this. There's a concept of something called the explosion of information. This is when AI tools can, in fact, create content that other AI tools learn from. They get smarter. They create content that makes other AI tools smarter. We're literally starting that virtuous cycle as we speak. Last Wednesday, actually, some tools were introduced by OpenAI that make that possible. It's almost like they're going through like a tool utilization, almost like a Stone Age, and then they're going to hit the bronze, and then they're going to hit modern times faster than anything we could imagine. So I think with that, we've covered a lot. Questions, please either come to the microphone or just speak loudly and we'll repeat questions for Mel.
Are you going to use the GPT to answer some questions?
Am I going to what?
Is the GPT going to answer your question?
We can have it answer questions if you want, my friend. Yeah, sir.
So have you looked at all of the different models out there like ChatGPT, Copilot, all the other flavors? Want to rate them?
I love that question. That is fantastic. That is You, sir, are wise to our ways. So that is great. There is a term that we use in AI that's a no free lunch. And, except if you're here, hopefully with the conference. But what it really means is horses for courses, I think, is a better way of describing it. Is you can't compare to AI models unless they've been trained on the exact same data set to do the exact same thing. Copilot that you mentioned is fantastic for writing code and helping software engineers increase their productivity. There's other things on those lines, right? ChatGPT is got a version that's good for coding that you'd want to compare to Copilot, for example, right? But if you use just GPT-4, then it's really awesome for summarizing, for getting you insights from a large volume of data. Cohere's models are really, really good at like agents. So that's really what I would say. Is it's a difficult question to answer because they are all attacking different parts of a vast space, and so we try and use a bunch of them to build our applications. Yeah.
So to expand.
So I envision buying all of them, getting them to talk to one another, and super AI.
Yes, sir. So to expand on his answer a little, sir, basically, Claude's probably the best at nuanced English language content creation. So if I wanted to write a poem, I would use Claude. Coding-wise, I use Gemini quite a bit for the things that I build. Now, let me be very clear. I write code, and I physically can't read it. So I have no idea what's going on, but what I do know is that when I execute that code, what I wanted it to do, which is what I told it to begin with, actually works. Yeah. So it's kind of amazing. ChatGPT is general, like all around, I think the best, especially with some of the newer models. And the comment on expense, I refuse to make eye contact with my wife, who's over here, because I think I could afford a nice Maserati on the amount of money I'm spending on the AI tools that I have subscribed to each month. So yes, it is great to have them work together. And quite honestly, I'll use one tool to kind of architect something, and then I'll use another tool to build it, and then I'll use another tool to test it. So there's a symphony that you can develop. I'm not sure I've told her all of the expenses that I've incurred on this journey, but yeah, it does add up real quick.
Sorry, I do want to add one more point to that. Which is the pace at which all of these folks are building models.
They evolve.
It's just insane. We've never seen anything like this before. It's truly amazing. And so I could give you an answer, and almost certainly by tomorrow, somebody is going to come out with a new model that's going to make me look like I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm going to refrain publicly. But yes, please go ahead.
Or question here and then over here.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, are you guys using a particular LLM for your development within the Motive product?
Gemini right now. Oh, I'm sorry, within the Motive products. I'm not sure.
Within the Motive products, we have basically, again, we have to try them all, and the right one, it's definitely the one that serves your needs the best. And then there will be other considerations like our own tech stack and integrating and all those kinds of things. But yeah, it really is horses for courses at the moment. I'm sure it'll all converge very, very soon, but the landscape is spectacular, awesome, and everybody is slightly better than everybody else at different things.
Question here, and then we've got one in the back, I think.
Yeah, the only question that I had, I wanted to touch on one thing you guys said was obviously the acceleration of AI is going to be crazy. It's not going to be like from the 80s to the 2020s.
Right.
Today, right?
Yeah.
So, with AI handling all the information in our Motive accounts when it comes to data leaks, like for example with OpenAI's ChatGPT, they had a data leak in 2023. Hundreds of thousands of people had their information. So do you guys use a specific measure to prevent that from happening? So if that ever does come to happen, we have some kind of guarantee that all our drivers' information and stuff like that will be.
That is a fantastic question. So at the moment, we do have a lot of guardrails. It's a part of our process. There's a lot of information I'm very happy to give you right after here. For those who want to check it out, we do have the AI, the Motive Trust Center, which is on our webpage, and it contains a lot of information about our AI governance, our internal AI policies, along with our overall security and compliance measures that we take. Customer data is our #1 priority. It always will be. This is a non-negotiable. And so to ensure this, we have 2 or 3 kind of core fundamental principles that we operate under, which is, of course, internally we limit access to only those who need to use customer data. And in a similar vein, we control access to these external tools on those lines as well, right? So as the technology continues to evolve, we will continue to add more of these guardrails in place. Fact-checking, security. We will always look to deploy models in-house as much as we can so that there's actually no egress, things like that. Happy to discuss this in much more detail. It's a fantastic question. And I do want to reiterate that, yeah, a lot of this information is online. I'm very happy to take it up right afterwards. Yeah.
At a very high level, we kind of deploy an enterprise security model, which is very different than a B2C. What you saw that leak from OpenAI was the B2C data. It was like people's chat histories and things like that. It's stored entirely differently with exceptionally more security protocols around it to keep corporate data. They charge us for this, by the way. It's insanely more expensive. It's not $20 a month by any stretch. So it's all of those security pieces are in place to make sure the data's not leaking.
Thank you.
Question in the back, sir.
It might be kind of simplistic, but so I was looking at your driver fatigue models that you were showing up there. And
yes, sir.
That's kind of a big concern of ours, even though I work for an autonomous trucking company. But the process that your system is using to identify different fatigue models and different fatigue indicators, I mean, it's coming basically out of the driver monitor camera that you have, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you don't necessarily need to add componentry for watching eye movement or facial, and facial recognition. I imagine is part of that. But
yeah.
Eye movement or head movement. I mean, specifically focused on that. It's kind of a back and forth I'm having with my boss, saying we don't need to clutter up our dash with more stuff.
Yeah, no, that is an absolutely fantastic question. So we have spent an intensive amount of time over the last year delving really into the causes of drowsiness. And they're multifaceted, as you rightly pointed out. We now know that it is possible for us to take a holistic approach that captures maybe close to about 20 different factors, none of which require mounting a small camera. That helps. Gaze is just one of them, and all it'll help you do is detect if a driver is falling asleep. But really, drowsiness and fatigue is really holistic. There is a whole lot to be gleaned from their driving patterns, from their posture, and to fuse a whole lot of that information together in a sophisticated fashion.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what I would say, is that the solution we're looking to implement is exactly going to do that. It is going to make sure that the other factors that also contribute to drowsiness negate the need for technology like it's extra clutter. It's extra cost. It's extra clutter, and it's completely viable for us to detect a lot of the things with high accuracy without the need for a crutch.
So, one second. So, same technology we have today. Now, we are looking into what we're calling the Motaser, which is a device that will shoot an electrical charge into the drivers if they fall asleep. I'm sorry, was I allowed to release that, Ben? No? Okay. No, I'm sorry, I take that back.
Yeah, that's right.
I've got a teenage driver. I would love that technology. Yeah, perfect.
I'm actually very happy to give you a lot more detail. Please, let's do chat right after this.
And I'm sorry, the lights are bright. Question here, and then one over here. Nope. All right, you win. Question.
System data recognize drowsiness based on the eyes or movement, what is it needing to recognize driver movement?
So it's real similar, right? Reaction time is slow, swerving back and forth, droopy head, eyes are closing, micro sleeps, things like that. So the impairment is actually shockingly similar when you look at the statistics for what gets you into accidents. We think there's going to be a very strong parallel between driving while under the influence, inebriated, drugs, whatever the case may be, and the drowsiness model. Or I'm sorry, the fatigue model. So yeah, we'll see those behaviors. It may not be fatigue, it may be inebriation. We're going to stop it either way.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, I know there's a question, but there's the 3 Ds of just bad driving, right? Or really dangerous driving. It's distractedness, drowsiness, and drunkenness.
Yep.
And ultimately, we have distracted driving. We're continuously improving our drowsy driving model. And I think that any kind of impaired driving is ultimately going to fall into a holistic view, right? So,
yeah. That's going to be amazing. Sir?
I have 2 questions. The first one is on training data. Are you using our inputs and our telematics data as training for the models, or does the training stop once they're implemented? For instance, we see a driver that maybe you interpreted as drowsy, but the user says, oh, no, that wasn't drowsiness, ignore that. And then my second question is, do your models look across data sets? Do you use telematics data plus vision data to make future predictions?
Absolutely. So the first question basically was, do we, sorry, what was the first question again? It was,
do we use their data?
So the answer to that is yes. This is essentially, as I was talking about the long tail, it's an iterative process. We're continuously improving our models. There is no such thing as a steady state for a motive model. No. It's always going to improve accuracy, both in terms of precision, so that you don't get in-cab alerts and events when there's actually nothing that's going on, and also when it comes to recall, to make sure that we're not missing something that we were supposed to pick up. The iteration is continuous. We source data, and at some point, our data sets become more and more representative of the corner cases that I was talking about when it comes to the long tail of the problem. And we do this because we have our in-house team of safety experts, and they help us curate interesting training examples that an AI should look at and become better. So that's the first part. It's continuous. And the second part, which was
different data sets.
We absolutely do look across data sets. Drowsiness is a fantastic example of an AI feature that requires fusing information from the driver side as well as the road side. You want to watch lane swerving and observe patterns. You want to fuse that information with the inputs that you pick up on the driver's side. And you want to fuse that information with telematics information as well. Yeah. Hard braking, hard acceleration. There's driving patterns that fatigued or drowsy drivers will, erratic driving, weaving. So you need vision. You need to watch the driver, you need to watch the road, and then you need to watch the vehicle. If you had other senses, tomorrow we're going to integrate them too. That is why the solution is going to be, it's an accurate, highly accurate solution because it looks at all the context that's available to us when it comes to the driver. So yes, the answer is absolutely yes, we do. Yes, sir.
So I realize that drowsiness has its own challenges, but of the critical event causes, medical events are also a significant concern. So things like bilateral stroke, heart attacks, seizures. Do you guys have a plan, or is it something that's in the future that you'd like to try to solve?
Like an incapacitated driver, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. This also, another great question. So this basically feeds into our iterative model development process. So today, we're working on the most common causes of fatigue and drowsiness. It's already more complex than a lot of the other AI models that we've built. And the roadmap's basically going to continue to add all of these cases. Drivers falling asleep, micro-sleeping periods, longer sleeping periods. And there are going to be indicators of this exactly, to the point about the telematics. Drivers who are incapacitated would exhibit similar driving patterns to drivers who are asleep, except sleepy drivers often tend to luckily wake up sometimes, more often than not. But an incapacitated driver would continue to. So you see, there's a little bit of more nuance, but something that if you build something for a fatigued or a drowsy driver, we'd be able to extend that very easily. So it's a crawl, walk, run. So we're going to build a model to crawl and then walk. By then we'll easily know, have a process and data in place to exactly address the scenario. So yes, absolutely.
So y'all, if you have any other questions, feel free to come up. We'll kick it here for a little bit. Thank you so much. Beyond appreciate y'all's attention.